You are burnt out in life, but life nonetheless demands so much of you on a daily basis. I use two tools in my life in order to counteract how much work in entering a journey of recovery. So, the first thing that I use is simply the idea that perspective is everything. When you look at the world from a bird's eye view, more as far as like, let me say it like this: if you have a bird's eye view on everything that you counter in life, whether that be good, bad, or neutral, you will be able to make much better decisions on what you get out of that scenario. So, for example, you could have maybe just lost your job, but you have now the capacity to find a job that you don't hate as much, and perhaps this change in your life could bring out the want to do other new positive changes to your life. But as far as how this has impacted me using the power of perspective in my life, I would say I'm a pretty fair case, because back 8, 9, 10 years ago, when I first got struck with my own problems with depression, I refused to believe anything besides the world is a horrible place and that my life was just basically no good. But since I, throughout the years, have looked at things from a much different lens, and with a couple other things such as therapy, I have been able to force myself basically to change my mindset from everything is bad to as close to everything is good as I can. I'm still working on it to this day. But it is, yes, it is a process that you have to force, and it is a very uncomfortable process, since it is a very big change, but it's so very worth it, because basically what you do with this is you replace your negative thoughts that you were having with positive thoughts, and the more positive thoughts that you have to work with, the more dense it is in your life, the happier it is, the happier you will become, because it will become easier to be happy at the smaller things in life, and you'll grow to appreciate the smaller things even more. The power of perspective is not the only tool that I've used. There is one other big tool that I use, and that is not gratitude, even though that is one tool that I do use. The other tool that I use in my life is the butterfly effect. So the butterfly effect, if you do not know, is basically when you do one small positive thing, for example, and do a lot of small positive things, it ends up having a snowball effect in somewhere you wouldn't even expect, in a massive positive way. Like, let's say, for example, when I'm at my job and I give someone a smile and ask how their day is going. For a lot of people, they'll just shoot that off like it's a normal interaction, but maybe for some people, they really needed that at that moment, and that's really what got them through their day. You just never know what people are going through. That is a part of it, but when you use the butterfly effect in a selfless way, you can use that, which does create a lot of inner meaning and peace. But the selfish way I use implementing small positive thoughts in my mind throughout the day, every day, whenever I can remember it, basically when the thought pops up randomly throughout the day. So when I think about, hey, let's say a random positive thought to me, say something like a compliment, maybe it will be a positive memory, maybe I'll just say I love you. It's building up these positive thoughts basically makes your mind more naturally prone to these thoughts. And one thing that really catch on, one thing you really realize when you do this is your subconscious, because our thoughts aren't actually produced consciously. They just appear and they're produced unconsciously. But what you'll realize is when you start to do this and actually take this butterfly effect, selfish butterfly effect seriously, you'll realize that your subconscious will produce these thoughts that are, instead of negative, like I hate my life, it will become very positive, like I love my life, or maybe telling yourself good morning, or saying how much you're having fun with an activity. And your mind will just naturally produce these thoughts that are positive. And honestly, when you can get to a position where that becomes more of a baseline, I truly do believe that you will have a improved baseline, mood-wise, significantly, or at least one that you could notice. So when people say that doing these things are quote-unquote cope or fake to do, not real, or toxic positivity, that would only be the case if your mind wasn't as much of a machine that you can manually do inputs as it is, because that's really what your mind is at the end of the day, the polar opposite of that. So, but yeah, I hope you guys got something out of those, but I'm gonna leave you guys out on a question. If you guys had infinite motivation and determination right now, what's one thing, one big change that you would do in your life? I appreciate you guys watching today's video, and I hope you have a good rest of your evening. Subscribe, and let me know in the comment section also if you liked this a little bit more different type of video in a different location. You guys have a good rest of your evening, morning, afternoon. Take care.